Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Rosen, and I am waiting on Kelley Franke to join me for this week's episode of Purely OCD. If you are joining us, let us know where you are joining from. Would love to hear where you're all coming in from. Welcome, welcome. Well, we should. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited to be here
Me too.
talking some OCD.
Yeah.
Our favorite thing to talk about.
This is true. This is true.
I actually floated an idea past Kelley this morning via text that we could talk about in real time, see if it resonates with everyone. I want to do a series for the holidays called My Favorite Things, kind of like they used to do on the big talk shows, right? Like, didn't Oprah do that or something? But about remember. OCD.
Yes.
What, I don't know. Thoughts?
Like our favorite things about talking about OCD, like our favorite topics on it.
I think what I mean is like a little bit sarcastically.
Totally. I mean our favorite topics though.
Yeah. And our favorite ways in which OCD is a butthole.
Yeah, butthole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So let's see. The date is
December the 6th.
So December the 6th, 2021, which means we would probably have a couple where we talk about it till January, like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
I like it. Doing it live. And if you have any questions, throw them in the question mark box. Somebody's going to get really sick of me saying that after a while, but oh well.
It has to be said.
It has to be said.
Someone has got to say it.
And we're happy to sort of answer any questions or, if anyone has any parts of OCD that they find particularly sticky or frustrating, feel free to comment. We'll try and catch them as they go by in the comment section, or you can just throw them in the question mark box too for discussion points, because ultimately the idea here is that if we all can sort of have a laugh at oh, wow, that OCD thing, that's one of my favorites, then when it comes up, there's this association with it that I think is a little bit more helpful.
Yes. And if the chances are, if you have that question, other people do as well. So definitely ask.
Yep. Agreed.
So with that being said, what are some of our favorite tricks that OCD plays?
Well, there's the classic content hopping that we talk about all the time.
Oh, yes.
AKA whack-a-mole.
Yes. There's also one where it's, and I lost it. It's gone. It's gone. It was like a dandelion. Just, is that what those are?
Air. Yeah.
It'll come back.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe we unpack a little bit of what whack-a-mole means, because, for anyone who's new to this realm, or maybe it's self-explanatory, but maybe not.
Right. It's when you're hitting a content area, it's like putting the helium balloon underwater, like going hard at something, and then boop, it pops up forcefully in another area. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought that was gone.
Right.
I thought we dealt with that.
Yes.
That is in a nutshell whack-a-mole.
Yes. I wasn't even feeling anxious about that one anymore. Why is that one bothering me now?
What's that about?
Or it's something totally new.
Yeah, or it's something new. This is very true. Yeah, that one's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something special too. That's also another whole other thing we can talk about for favorite things.
Man, well, that's but this one's different.
This one's different. And my OCD is the worst too.
Oh, absolutely. And I would love to have some other OCD. That would be better.
I've been hearing that a lot lately, and I'm like, wow, I haven't heard that in a while. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's interesting that it's been coming up a lot recently.
mm-hmm.
It's so hard, and I understand why people think it, because of course, if a content area isn't your content area, the chances are it's not triggering to you. Really.
Right.
So,
I know. It's gonna feel just as
oh, I think we have a connection
uh-oh.
issue with Miss Franke.
Can you see
Uh,
me?
yep, I can see and hear.
Oh
I'm
no.
realizing that there are some questions coming by in the feed, and again, if you can throw them in the question mark box, that would be great. Um, yeah. Anyway,
Did you
but
lose me entirely?
only for like 10 seconds.
Okay. Just
So
making sure.
no, solid.
Yeah. Um, and I think people get really hung up on this idea that when they're doing exposures, it's like, okay, well, it's just this. And the reality is it's not that simple. We're doing exposures to generate this uncomfortable feeling of uncertainty across the board for it to generalize. And oftentimes, when we're first starting off doing exposures with people, you'll notice like this, maybe this urge is stronger, flare ups in other content areas.
Mm.
So it feels a little whack-a-mole-ish, but
No, but it's such a good point that you bring up, is that if we look at the goal of exposure work as learning how to tolerate the feeling, then it does generalize. Then it doesn't have to do with the content. So then when the content jumps, it's like it doesn't matter.
totally. But early on, though, I think it's such a hard concept of, accepting the
Yeah.
uncertainty. So the generalization doesn't happen until they've moved into acceptance of uncertainty,
Yeah.
which might
Yeah.
take some time, as we know,
Definitely.
because I
Yeah.
can tell you right now, I move in and out of uncertainty acceptance all the time. I've probably done it like 15 times today already.
Yeah. Oh
Today's an
yeah.
exceptional day, but definitely an outlier. But
It's so true though. It's yeah, like the in and out of like, oh, yeah. But the just the sort of getting caught in the compulsions almost unknowingly, unwittingly, and then going like, oh wait, I'm back in the trying to fix uncertainty mode, but there's no fix to uncertainty.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I had a question for our viewers here about this, about like whether or not they, you know, how like I mean, it's hard to do. We can't do a poll, but I guess, you know, does this idea of I'm gonna accept general uncertainty resonate with you guys? Do you think that you can apply that? And is there, we can't give direct advice on here, but I'd love to have some sort of a dialogue around that, because I do think it's such an important concept.
It is an important concept. And, as therapy progresses, usually with our clients, you'll notice that they do start to go, oh, wait, thinking about all this, anything, whether I think it's OCD or unrelated, it's useless to ruminate on this. And I have to accept that ultimately uncertainty is all there is.
Right. Yes. And that the just the attempts to control it or get rid of it, that it's this, that's the problem.
Right.
That's the, yeah, because of the fact that, like you were saying, that the only thing that exists is uncertainty. And so, but looking at it in those sort of broad strokes, and I see a couple people saying like, yeah, only every single day, right? But understanding it on that level is a game changer.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, and interesting. Somebody just said that it takes a long time for the generalization to occur, sometimes like after a major flare up. And I think that that's true because of what we started this conversation with, which is, but this time it's different, which in the moment can be so compelling. Now, if you've been through a number of different flare ups, you're probably going to get to a point where you're like, oh, it's feeding me the this one's different storyline. Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen this one before.
right.
Um,
It's special.
yeah, but it's not. None of it's none of it's special.
No. Except that we're going to annihilate it. That's the only specialness about it.
Well, the
Okay.
specialness is in us because we're annihilators and warriors. Yep, I agree with that. Um, but yeah, the the just sort of generalizing and the keeping it broad. It's hard because it's the content is so intense sometimes that the idea, it might even sound flippant to hear Kelley and I say like, oh well, the content doesn't matter,
Mm.
or none of it's special, because then and us both having been there, I'm thinking right now of your experience, a lot of obsessions related to your child, and
Hmm.
of course it feels special, and of course the
Yeah.
experience is, oh, this is different. Um,
Right.
but at the same token, taking any of the content seriously, even if the ideas or concepts are in theory, like if they did come to pass, would
True.
be serious, like
Yeah.
we still can't take the thoughts like
Nailed it.
they're serious. Oh, thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the floor falls beneath your entire body.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we
You learn to
want.
ride the wave
Yeah.
right there. And I'm glad that helped somebody feel a little less stuck, the talking about the special thing, because I think it's such a common experience for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, it's weird because I think my feed isn't, I don't know if it's my iPhone. It was requesting I do an update on software, but I didn't. So
Oh, do you not see the feed? I
it
hate it when
keeps
that happens.
it'll like start and stop actually, which I've never seen. But anyways,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
so
So we can go over to the question mark box, but should we just land on that today? Like our
yeah,
thing today is talking about how when OCD likes to say, and not that I'm trying to personalize OCD as or personify OCD as like this character, because it's just your mind. But when
right.
your mind feeds you, no, you can't possibly ignore this one. This
Yeah.
one's different. This one's real. This one's important. Um, so maybe we can sort of stick on that for today.
Yeah, this one's very real is a good one.
And it is one of my favorite, in quotation marks, things
I know.
about OCD. It's it's always a fun ride. Okay, let's see.
And
Question.
depending on how fused someone is with that thought,
Mm.
we can have serious, run into serious dilemmas. Um,
Yeah, would you say more about that? I think that could be helpful for people who are watching.
right, is that it complicates things if the insight is really low into this. There's like a percentage. Like I might ask a client, from 0 to 100%, how much do you believe this thought to be true? And if they're giving me it like 99%,
Mm.
the chances of getting them to buy in to do exposures is going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
So it complicates things. The faster we learn to accept this uncomfortable feeling that's associated with letting go, and accepting uncertainty, the better chances we have of moving quicker through it. Otherwise, it's just like trying to keep your head above water and you're just like, you know, barely staying afloat because there's so many compulsions going on.
Right,
Um,
because you're so, to your point, like that term fused, which it comes
yeah,
from acceptance and commitment therapy for anyone who doesn't know, with the thoughts, because the thoughts are essentially indistinguishable or hardly distinguishable from
yeah,
reality, versus having an awareness of, oh, I had that thought. Oh, okay. That's words that happen in my mind. Now it could be true, it could be false, like a book can be fact or fiction, right? Or yeah, nonfiction,
yeah,
fiction. You got where I was at.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, if it's not helpful, then the rumination doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or the checking doesn't matter. That like if yeah,
Yes.
we always have to look at whether or not first you can look at, well, is it likely to be true? And then, even if it is potential, or it's always a potential, but if it's likely, then, well, does it matter that I'm going to sit here and try to figure out how to deal with that thing? Because it's going to happen one way or another. And, is there something that I can even do about it? Is an important question.
Right. It's like if you're actually if all of this doesn't matter, and because you're in an alternate universe and no one's real, then just damn it, go live your best alternate universe self then.
Oh yeah, that's it. I love it. I want to live my best alternate reality self.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing every day, every damn day.
Yeah. Whew.
All right, let's go to the question marks. Let's see. How to accept uncertainty. That's pretty broad. It's a big question, which we have a lot of different questions. I'm trying to see if we can hook any into this.
Yeah, we try to keep it on topic as much as possible. Not like that wasn't on topic. We may come back to it, but
yeah. Let's see. Deal with OCD, create new intrusive thoughts every day. Let's see. That's a good one. That's totally connected to this one's special, I think. Can OCD create new intrusive thoughts every day, or are they always repetitive? Kelley.
Yes. Yes.
It can always come up in new ones.
You're like, Kelley, all the time, right? Is like, this is just your brain's like, no, we don't accept uncertainty in this one anymore. Okay, this one. Okay, this one. This one.
Right? It's like running through all of the, just trying to, it's like that annoying kid brother that's like just,
except
poking you
like
all the time.
You're about to die, or someone's going to die.
Right.
But yeah, that's the answer. And I love it when clients come in. I don't love it for them, but when they come in and they're like, I have so many types of intrusive thoughts. And the reality is like, whoa, let's not get really impressed by how many types you have, because it's actually just one type, which is OCD. And your brain is just pulling constantly from different areas. So stop trying to make it more special than it is, because now it's gotten more power. That's that's not helping.
Yeah. Well, because that leads back to the fusion that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The more importance that we give these thoughts, the more real they seem, or we think they are, and on it goes. Versus if you do nothing about them, then after a while you're like, oh, there's words again, and they might be anxiety provoking, but
there's some letters put together.
Yeah, I want to actually
symbols.
Like
Stephen Hayes would say,
like the Plato's cave, right? It's the images being projected instead of the actual things. But I'm actually going to start. I want to work on something here with all of you and with you, Kelley. I'm thinking of like the Mickey Mouse song, who's the lead? I'm going to start doing that with thoughts.
Okay.
So when a thought comes in, it's like, well, and then you have to think about how to spell it. So that'll take some brain power. But
takes the prefrontal.
IAMASOCOAPATH. Sociopath.
Yes, I love that.
There's an interesting exposure idea.
I actually love that. It's good. It's so good.
But that really points to the fact that it's just a bunch of words, right? Like it's a bunch of letters and.
And also too is that, when we get into this, it's special and all of that. And oh my gosh, this is never going to go away because my content keeps jumping. then we also get complications with depression,
Mm,
right? Like this helpless, hopeless place. So a
yeah.
second reason why we don't want to treat OCD special.
Yeah. Well, and can you, I think I know what you're talking about because I see this all the time too, but
Mm.
the depression component, like how do you see that factoring in that if there's this sort of onslaught and now you're getting this new content area, how do you see that impacting somebody's potential depression?
Right. Well, just because it feels like you're just getting hammered constantly and you feel like you're not getting under any ground under yourself and doing all this hard work and there's new content. Is this ever going to get better? Like this, and that could actually become its own obsession as well,
Yes.
as we've talked about many of times. But yeah, it's just OCD is typically paired with depression, first of all,
Yeah.
or
Often.
depressive symptoms. But it can complicate it if you're not truly accepting uncertainty across the board, right? Is like we're not doing the exposures appropriately then either,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we're not doing it enough.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if that answers it.
No, I think you're spot on.
Okay.
That's and just recognizing. I think back to that hopelessness piece, which is where it really tends
Mm.
to right get you because if you're constantly having these new thoughts pop in and you're seeing them as these different entities that now I have to figure out this whole new thing, right? This
Right.
whole new mountain I've got to climb.
Right.
That it does start to feel hopeless, and then you start to um, the sense of mastery and the motivation to keep trying tends to go down versus if you see it as like, oh, this is my OCD getting desperate. It's just trying to pull out all the stops. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which I think is exactly what it is. It's like, oh, well, it's not getting you here. Let's try it here. Let's try it here. Let's throw in it's special term, that's like,
Or, this is never going to go away obsession.
yeah. Well,
Um,
somebody said, I also have the feeling that this will just be my life. And give it in the context of what we're talking about, I imagine that, and like, I won't presume to know exactly what this person's saying or thinking, but that if we're talking about depression, just this sense that nothing will ever change, the sort of hopelessness. And what's interesting is we're not looking for things to change. We're looking to change our response to them.
right.
So if somebody was from the outside looking in and saying, oh, well, all these OCD specialists keep talking about like thoughts and feelings don't go away, then it is always going to be like this. And therefore, I'm always going to have this experience of it. And I think recognizing that those two things are not the same necessarily.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Let's see. And I will look at the questions in the box. We can talk about generally how to accept uncertainty while I'm looking through this list. If you want, do you want to make any comments about how to accept uncertainty?
So how to accept uncertainty is like if your brain.
Oh, sorry,
what?
I accidentally picked one.
Oh,
so
I can't see. So let's address it.
Let's address it. It says, can it trick you into feeling like you want to do something bad? And Kelley feels passionately about this one. Go, Kelley.
Yes. I feel like the answer, we should get cue cards. Just like I'll hold them and you can read them. Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Or whether or not you may have done something bad or you're gonna do something bad or something bad already did happen and you don't even know about it. Yes. All the above.
Yeah. And that's where, tying it back into what we've been talking about, where when it says, oh no, this one's different, or this one's special, you can see where that would be really tough, because if somebody's saying like, oh, well, now it's telling me I might want to do something bad, or that's the thought that I'm having. What if I do want to do something bad and it's different? Oh no, right? That's where it starts to build and become really challenging.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
so go ahead. I interrupted your answer about uncertainty.
Well, we'll both talk about it, but let's use this example as like someone's scared, right? I'm just going to hypothetically say that, maybe a person, this is not uncommon to hear these types of questions, even in our own therapy sessions, is, is this common? Is the beginning of the question, right? For OCD to do blank, to make me feel like I want to hurt somebody, to question my identity, blah, 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 blah. And then we say yes. Well, that gives reassurance that yes, for sure. And then that person goes, oh, this is definitely OCD then.
Right.
And we're saying we actually don't really want to do that. We actually want to say, yes, OCD can do that. And we have to accept that maybe this other truth could happen. And that's really the scary part. That's accepting uncertainty. That's choosing not to ruminate and trying to figure it out. That's choosing to say maybe, maybe not. That's choosing to take your kid to Disneyland and not sit in the house avoiding your kid all day. Like that's
Right.
saying, let's get closer to, or like risking, quote unquote, risking more, like gambling more with whatever this theory is, and get us closer to this recalibration state, which is uncertainty, because all these other compulsions and all these other safety behaviors, they are done with this false belief that somehow you have the ability to control the outcome of everything, and you don't. You
Yeah,
don't.
you do not.
All you have control over is how you respond to it. That is it. The rest we have to just truly accept. It's there anyways. Like that, those behaviors are not helping you.
Uncertainty is not going away. It's our birthright. It's
Yeah,
the,
it's the
it's the only thing that's true, right?
Yeah,
Is uncertainty. It
like to
is.
Israel. That's it.
Oh, like a taglit. Yeah, like I probably said that wrong.
No, I think you said it right.
But yeah, in terms of, I'm wondering if somebody else could drop another, like another subtype, because then we can talk about what accepting uncertainty with that subtype might look like. So if anyone's curious about a specific one, we could talk about relationship OCD, because somebody said, how does it look in relationships in the questions? But yeah, the element, to your point, it's there anyway. It's there anyway. It's not changing. Right. You're not going to get rid of uncertainty. POCD. Okay. So, but yeah, so whether you accept it or not is really the only choice that you have. Yeah. And when it makes sense to completely open to the uncertainty, based on what's been happening, based on, whether or not you've been successful at finding an answer, or, how much trying to find an answer has impaired your life. Then the thing about accepting uncertainty too, and then we can talk about POCD and maybe even relationship OCD. The thing about accepting uncertainty is that it's deceptively easy, right? It's the absence of something. It's like, just allow it to be there. So it's actually more not doing than it is doing.
Right. Right.
It's more passive in a way. So like allowing for a feeling to be there, to make space for that feeling, to breathe in, and then to move the heck on with your life. And I think, yeah. What were you saying?
I was going to say, although I think at the very beginning, it's more work in terms of if we're talking about like mental rumination, right? Like this idea that we have to redirect and refocus and say, okay, hold on, my brain because it just naturally just wants to go, it wants to figure it out. So we have to be very on guard and aggressive about staying present and saying, yeah, I know you agree with all this, but Just to be
Yes.
clear to everybody, like if anyone thinks that it is easy to sit there and be like, oh, I'm
Mm-mm.
just not gonna think about it, it's not. You are gonna have to, like, it's hard. I'm not gonna write that in an exposure log, but I am gonna teach somebody, like, come back and refocus. Like, that's probably one of the hardest exposures to do.
It is.
It's is for me, and that's
The
my
response
forever
prevention.
exposure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is so hard. It is really, really challenging. So it's not, I think my point is the acceptance of uncertainty um, is not doing anything but keeping yourself from picking up the quest to figure it out again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like to practice, that's an active, engaged process.
Definitely.
And not like in a distracting way, but in a, okay, well, how do I want to come back to my life and the things that are important to me? That is a practice, and it is a
Yeah.
words.
So, dude, I don't
Words.
even know. I don't even know what day it is, so it's
Words and
fine.
letters, man. It's all words and letters.
Symbols.
Symbols. Yeah, I think it's Monday. That's good. December 6th.
It is Monday because we're here.
Actually, do you know what? It's Saint Nicholas Day today.
Is it?
It's the day that the saint who lived somewhere in Scandinavia.
This is why
Oh no. Kelley left us again.
no, no.
Dear Kelley, you've
Am I
gone.
here?
Hello.
St.
Yes, you're back.
Nicholas got rid of me.
Oh, oh, what?
Did you? I said St. Nick got rid of me.
Why did he get rid of you?
Well, he did not like us talking about him, obviously.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
I get it. I
Proceed.
get it. Anyway, yeah, I think the day that he died, and he actually used to make toys anonymously and like leave them out for
Hmm.
people in need, which is kind of like, it's just a neat story. But anyway, I digress. Somebody did ask in the feed if we see people in Florida, and we both do, actually. It's one of the states that we are allowed to work in. But
Mhm.
so back to this question of accepting uncertainty when it comes to POCD. Let's have a little back and forth here, Kelley.
Sure.
I'm gonna be playing the role of somebody with POCD, or
Yeah.
you could, either way.
No, no, that's good. Do it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like when I get really exposed about how I'm a terrible therapist.
Oh,
Proceed.
cool. Yes.
Go.
Exposure hour. So, um, but I'm really I have these thoughts, and like if I look at a kid, like sometimes I think I feel something like in my groin. And does that mean something? I mean, maybe that means something about me, but how do I accept uncertainty about that? That seems really like a bad idea. I don't
Right.
want to hurt somebody.
Well, first of all, the good news is your groin's working, which is fabulous. So there's that.
Okay.
We have
Good.
a little certainty, right? On that part.
Yes, yeah, it's something's happening. Yeah. Hmm.
But you haven't done it thus far, right? You're really bad at being a pedophile. That's the truth, right? Those are the facts of the situation. So until you are one, you aren't.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we have to accept that even though it's really uncomfortable and it comes with lots of feelings and emotions and sensations and groinal responses, we have to accept that it's possible you could. And we're going to do that by getting you closer to, instead of avoiding, these triggers.
Mm.
And we're going to get you lined up on a functional exposure. So if you're avoiding your nephew or your niece, we're going to go to their house and we're going to play with them. And we're going to say in our mind, I may or may not be a pedophile. I may or may not be aroused by them.
Hmm. Amp up the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped my role
No,
as
that's okay. I think that the role is,
complete.
yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to approach this, but that's,
No, that's it. That's it. And if I were that client, the one thing that probably would have happened at one point is I probably would have been like, but I really like I don't want to do that,
yeah.
or but at least
Oh,
I
I
don't think
know.
I want to do it. Right. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where it starts to become, so, obviously it goes without saying that these thoughts are ego dystonic, right? They're upsetting to the individual. Well, and then you can have obsessions about whether or not they're ego dystonic, right? Uh, but yeah, crushed it. All right.
Cool.
Can we switch roles and you tell me, like, you're a person with relationship OCD and I'm going to tell you how to accept uncertainty?
Yeah. So,
Hopefully this is helpful for people. Tell us if it's not.
so we require positive feedback or negative, is what she's saying.
What I'm saying is we're unwilling to accept uncertainty about whether or not this is helpful for you. Sorry.
Anyway,
We're going to accept uncertainty. Okay.
So don't give it to us.
Don't tell us.
Okay. So I'm in a relationship with somebody, and I've noticed that I'm attracted to other people, and, maybe more attracted on some levels, varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the way my partner talks. I just don't like the way his cadence is. Nothing about him talking is gross.
You're crushing this. Go ahead.
Which, by the way, that's not the case in reality. I'm just saying.
Oh no!
I don't know why,
David.
Yeah, I don't know
David,
why.
This is not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you. And other people I'm attracted to them more. I'm not sure if this is the right relationship for me. Like, it's never been an issue until the last year. Like, this has to be real, because it's been fine for 15 years until now. Like, why would it just randomly happen like this?
Well, I think, first of all, of course it's real. It sounds like there are moments when you are annoyed. Oh, maybe I should. That was a really
no,
way
that
of
was
putting
good. That was good.
But like
I was just trying to be funny.
I know. Tilt. First of all, it is real that you're frustrated in moments, or that you're annoyed in moments, or even that you're attracted to other people in moments. But it sounds like you're having a really hard time accepting uncertainty about what that means about your relationship. And so what we're going to try and do here is that if all of the signs point to you love your partner, and if we can look at what you're wanting out of a relationship, is being 100% attracted to your partner above everyone else at all times an important component to you in having a relationship? Should that, weigh out other things like consistency, or, right, not to get too into the content here, but I think it's important to recognize, right, that
Yeah.
No, I'm breaking everybody.
I'm comparing myself a lot. I'm comparing him with these other people, like, all the time. So it makes it really hard to accept that, because.
Well,
yeah.
And I hear you. And you're going to want to figure it out. We're back to that desire to eliminate the uncertainty about whether or not this person is the best fit for you. And you can't know that. There are almost 8 billion people on this planet. We cannot know that that's the best fit for you.
So we'll never know.
So I think we'll never know. But here's the thing. You can accept and tolerate the discomfort that comes with not knowing, right?
Yeah.
So where do you feel you just made a sound, right? Where do you feel that discomfort in your body? Like, where do you feel it?
My chest.
Okay. So what does it feel like in your chest?
Tight.
Like somebody's squeezing it, or like there's a weight on it, or
it's like constricting so that I can't, like an anaconda, because I can't catch my breath.
Okay. So it's like starting to like pull in, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So is it okay to have that feeling right now?
It's going to have to be, I guess, because I can't change it.
You can't change it. You can't get rid of it. So let's try like breathing in and making space for the fact that there's tightness. So take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through the mouth. Now I want you to imagine with the next inhale, deep breath, that you could make space for the tightness. So if you could inflate the area with every in-breath around your chest, not to relax the chest, but in order to make space for the fact that there's tightness. And in and out and etc. Now, yeah, like you get the point. That's kind of, I love how I was coming in and out of our little role play. I was like, oh no, Kelley's like sticking with this. She's in it. I'm liking this.
I don't know. You did a great job, but like to your point when I was doing it is that I can tell you that we can almost predict to a T what the next cue will be for OCD, right? Like then that person will say like, well, how do I know I love them? Well, how do I know that this is the right relationship? Just like Lauren had predicted would happen, right? Like those are all we know it's game.
I know that's the thing. It's like chess, and we know the different moves that the other player likes to play. But all of that to say, if we come back to this initial, our favorite things about OCD or least favorite things or whatever, this idea that it's special or it's different this time, like this time I'm having thoughts about whether or not I'm, attracted to children. I can't possibly just accept uncertainty about that. Or this time I'm having thoughts about the validity of my entire relationship. And I'm like, and whether or not I should live my life in this way. I can't treat that flippantly. I can't essentially with the, response prevention, with the acceptance of uncertainty, it's leaving that question dangling out in the freaking air.
I know. It's like that. Oh, sure. You just want me to leave it there when I've done everything I can to make sure that I know that this isn't going to happen. Like,
yeah. You know how I feel about that?
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's the way. And even if your OCD or your anxiety is saying this time it's different and you're going to ignore it and this horrible thing's going to happen, it's down to, okay, well, maybe that horrible thing is going to happen. Yeah. I don't know, but I really have to get back to washing the dishes. And
I can't live my life like this anymore.
Right. Yeah. What time are we at?
We're at time.
We're at
it's
time.
1:30. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That went quick.
I know.
Thank you all for joining us today.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. And if we didn't get to your question, it's probably because in part, we do try to stay on topic or keep it around these clusters so that when people come back to rewatch, there's, they know kind of, oh, well, this is something that I'm grappling with and I'd like to learn more about that. We do take requests. If you are interested in us exploring a topic on here in the future, you can direct message us. You can also submit ideas on our website. So we'll have some news in that arena coming out in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, we have a website.
We do. It's true. PurelyOCD.com.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
And thank you, friend.
Thank you, friend. Thanks for being the best always.
You're the best.
I'm so glad that we get to fight OCD together, personally and professionally. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. It's key.
Okay, everyone, have a wonderful week.
Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.